you mentioned just having dirt on people and kind of using that as leverage. And I want to get into some of the Epstein stuff, but I guess as a precursor to that, there's a lot of CIA officers say that blackmail is just not as effective as you would think it to be. And maybe that's a diversion, maybe it's true, I don't know. But like in your opinion, how effective is blackmail really?
Well, it depends upon what you've got. I mean, if you really got something that's going to completely destroy this person if you release it publicly, or they can, that's one of the things. I don't think I've ever been blackmailed, but one of the things is call their bluff. I mean, is it really be that bad? Okay, in that regard, and then see what they're going to do about it. Well, the thing is, when you use coercion against somebody, they're going to resent that. Okay, then you've got, it's like a hostile witness on the stand. You're going to have to pry things out of them. They're not cooperating willingly. You want people to cooperate willingly. So you can never entirely trust what they're going to say, and when they get the chance, if the chance does offer itself to them, well, they're going to screw you back. Why wouldn't they? You're blackmailing them. So you better have something on them which is good. Maybe the more effective thing is not to have something on them, but to have something on someone else that they're close to. People will often be more protective and other than they would of themselves. You know, especially, I don't remember who it was, but I think it was in an El constitution. Get a hold of the kids and you can get the adults to do anything. Threaten their children. So, man, how would the cartel handle this? Well, brutal, but if you, we're not going to harm you. We're not going to do anything to you. But if you do what we want, we'll kill your wife, we'll kill your children, we'll kill everyone close to you, and you'll know that you're responsible for it. So you can cooperate. So, but you're always dealing with an unwilling subject. Um, in that kind of a situation, you're a bit like a lion tamer. You got the whip, you got the pistol, you got the chair. And as long as you use those effectively, you can make the lion do what you want. But mess up just once, turn your back, give them one moment, and they'll turn on you. So, you see, ego and money and ideology are so much easier to do in coercion.
Yeah, that's really interesting. I guess it does change the entire dynamic of the relationship, and it's probably not a go-to. It's probably on the back end of
It's kind of the last
yeah.
resort.
Okay, so there's, I guess, like situationally, right? I don't know if this is part of training at CIA, but obviously they give you scenarios and they ask you how you'd react in those scenarios. And so like let's use a scenario of basically when you're running an asset, you are, as a Mossad agent or officer put it, you are fulfilling their desires, right? So if they want if they want money, great. But if they want something darker, which is probably often the case, if they want drugs or if they want pornography or if they want child pornography, or let's say they even, they ask you for a prostitute. You give them a prostitute? Probably, yeah. What if they ask you for a child prostitute? What I'm getting at is where are, along that path of fulfilling people's desires, like where do agencies draw the line? And are there things that certain agencies aren't willing to do?
Well, how important is it? How does this person have invaluable information that no one else can get you? Is that the only source you have? Is it critical to what you want? Then you do the math. Okay. Again, it comes down to a calculation. It's just a formula. If they're the only ones who have that information and you desperately need it, if it's a matter of life and death on your end, then the math would tell you you'll give them whatever they want. You didn't give them those desires. You're just facilitating them, and you need their cooperation. Not to say that you can't suddenly get on your moral high horse and say that no. I mean, that's the point that you either as an agent handler or someone else would draw the line. But where is that? But yeah, if your job is to get the information, then you'll do whatever is necessary to get the information. And I mean, that person is the pervert. Not, I mean, you can make up all kinds of excuses that you want to. Point is, if you want the information bad enough, you'll do what's necessary to get it. Or you won't, and you'll fail. Choice is yours. You don't have to reckon with God now. That's later.
Okay, so just to come back to the Epstein stuff and wrap it up, I just, again, as a speculative thought experiment, let's say you're CIA director and you have this Jeffrey Epstein character to mold. Something I've thought about is, now if you were to, do you think that an agency like that would think that his pedophilia problem, if they found out about it, would they view it as a positive that could be leveraged into, things like we're talking about, but those outcomes? Or do you think that they would view it as a possible red flag and a shortcoming that would rear its head down the road? Does that make sense?
Well, how useful is it? If you found it too morally reprehensible to deal with, you never would have approached it to begin with, because that should have been obvious fairly early on. Okay, it didn't take you all those years to figure out that he likes young girls, a little too young. That, of course, is a cultural thing, but we'll get it. Within our culture, that's some places that wouldn't be that unusual. Isn't some places polygamy isn't that unusual, but generally it's frowned upon in polite Western society. So that couldn't have come as a surprise to anyone. And those predilections from the standpoint of exploitation and manipulation could be useful. Creates a dirty little secret he has to keep covered up. You got something on him. I mean, there has to be a certain portion of that. He can't have the monopoly on things having things on everyone else, is what I'm trying to say. So it helps to manipulate him. Again, just do the math of the situation. Looking at it as opposed to a kind of moral conundrum. I mean, my God, if you're in the game of intelligence, it's not to say that moral considerations couldn't come into it, but you kind of left those down the road some time ago, didn't you? I mean, that's, again, when it comes down to a matter of survival, that's no longer a question. What's moral or immoral in terms of survival? So it's just a matter of being realistic. I have to add in here someplace that I've done other podcasts, and while I generally don't go through a podcast and read comments because that's a road to madness, there have been ones where I have been accused of being some sort of apologist for the government or for one thing or another, and just to say that I don't work for these people. I don't have anything there. I just don't want to try to push conclusions that I don't know are true. And if I say that I'm not certain about something, that's all that I mean. I'm not trying to make excuses for them or Epstein or anything. It could be a lot of things. Epstein's career is highly suspicious, and it almost certainly was manipulated, or should have been, by an intelligence agency of one form or another. You take the pick as to which ones you want to put in the lead. So, but that's about as much as I think you can fairly, clearly say about the situation. And even that is a form of speculation. I think speculation with a lot of weight behind it. But that's what you need to have. So no, I'm not working for the government. Which government would that be? Or for the Illuminati? No, not for them either.
Oh.
But if I was, I wouldn't tell you. So there you go. See?
Well, If you're gonna read my comments, then I am also a CIA plant, and this is a CIA sponsored podcast, and just what they want you to hear, which is ironic because my first guest was a CIA dissident who blew the whistle on the enhanced interrogation
Well, so
program.
that just proves that you're
do
trying
with
to
that
cover
with
that.
you will.
All right, it just don't read the comments.
Yeah, that's the moral of the story.
Yeah.
And again, I think what the way I meant to phrase my question was not, again, it wasn't about morality. It was about, like, if an agency was to construct a person to compromise others, would they see that proclivity for disgusting things as a positive, or would that be something that could fuck them in some way? You know what I mean? Like, I phrased it the wrong way.
It could be both, but you'd have to weigh those. You know, these are flaws that could be, or predilections that could be exploited in a positive way. First of all, this guy's not going to have any predilections about, or any. His predilections will incline him to compromising others. He's not going to be afraid to go there. Now, with this a guy who could set up a Lolita Island? Yeah, okay, because he's already into that type of thing to begin with. So does it mean that any kind of association with him later on could become embarrassing? Well, that's why we kill him. I mean, that, I think, could explain a number of things. First of all, you keep your distance. Can't prove anything. And he's dead.
What's up, guys? Thank you so much for taking the time to watch the interview. If you got anything out of this video at all, please like the video, leave me a comment, tell me what you thought of the video, tell me who you'd like to see on the show. I really appreciate the support. It goes a long way on these platforms, as you guys know. Most importantly, I have some excellent interviews coming up in the future that I'm really, really excited about. So please subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any of them. But that's it. Thank you for your support. I really appreciate it, and hope to see you again soon.